Ready to get checked by FWC?
Oh, we're checking fish today.
Oh, okay.
Y'all catch any snapper yet?
Everywhere. I can't stay off of them. I'm trying for black snapper. It's illegal fish on your boat will lead to a huge fine. What's up, y'all? Welcome to the Cameraman Ron channel. Appreciate you guys joining us for another fishing adventure here in beautiful Pensacola, Florida. Today we got some live bait on board. We are going to head out and hit a couple of bait spots and see if we can't find something to take back and cook up. It seems to have been a tall task to try to do here recently, but I think today might be the day. But that's enough talking. Let's put some lines in the water and some fish in the deck.
It seemed like at first, and all of a sudden it just pulled.
Well, you caught your first official red snapper.
You keep eating?
No. Oh no.
I knew they was in season, but I didn't know
if it was in season, that one's not big enough. They gotta be 16 inches.
what's a fighter?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was real kind of easy, and then all of a sudden, wham, boy. Well, that's like a catfish. I thought I had a monster with that thing.
Saltwater fish just fight different, man.
I was like, well, that thing ain't nothing.
And the bite is almost immediate today. We just need them to commit like that right there. There's fish on. Come on, mangrove snapper. Or just another juvenile red snapper. I'm so glad that these were put on the endangered species list, because they're so rare to catch. I mean, it's crazy that you know, catch such a rare fish so often, honestly. Picked up on another one. He's giving him a little bitty red snapper for the way you fighting him. Sam got another little juvenile red snapper, the most endangered fish in all of Florida. Slippery little suckers, aren't they? There we go. There's fish on. Yeah, we could sit out here and catch these for days. All right, guys, so this is going to be a prime example. Somebody's commented in a video a couple videos back, and like, I'm pretty sure that's a lane. Look at the spot. And they do have a spot on them, but most juvenile red snappers do. So you don't want to come out here and get a juvenile red confused with a lane, because that is not a lane. It has no yellow on it whatsoever. That is a straight American red snapper. But when they're young like that, they do have those spots. Yeah, that's what it is. That's a better one, though, yeah.
No, didn't swallow it.
Maybe. Well, we've sized up our red snapper, but they're still just red snapper. Oh, you're good. Well, guys, today started off much like most of the days that you guys have seen all summer, with us catching a bunch of undersized red snapper. Now, right after we caught those undersized red snapper, we had a little visitor show up to the boat. Y'all check it out. Ready to get checked by FWC. How's it going? Well, yes, sir. I know. You can't catch a fish. You can't catch a fish in front of these guys. No, just they don't want you to. Oh, touch it.
Y'all catch any snapper yet?
Everywhere. I can't stay off of them. I'm trying for black snapper, but every spot where I used to catch them was like loaded with red snapper right now. I haven't caught any gags here in a while. Yeah. I've got a little chicken coop spot just right over there, and it normally I could come out here and catch my limit of black snapper in 30 minutes, and now it's just, I know they may still be there, they just can't beat the reds to the bait. So
do you have any fish on the boat at all?
I don't even think I have any bait fish on here this morning. Nope, I don't. I'm sorry.
That's good.
The only thing we got, so no sir, let me clear that off. It's actually just a little team kit. Just watch.
Oh, we're checking fish today.
Oh, okay.
What's your name for a JEA form?
I love the fact that you're just fishing away. Everybody else gets it. He's 3/16/1980. He's my uncle. He's from Kentucky. He doesn't get to do this very often, so he's like, I'm gonna take advantage.
Y'all
Hey, gentlemen, thank y'all so much. Appreciate you. Now this week I've been on the water 4 times and I have seen Florida FWC on the water all 4 times. They've actually checked me twice, which again, I have no problem with, but it's something I do want to address in today's video. And I want to talk to you guys about it because I know a lot of people ask these questions and a lot of you guys are coming here from out of town. So I thought today might be a good day to address why they're checking, why it's important that they check, and why that we have such strict regulations on fishing here in Florida. Now, I've been called everything in the book for being like pro FWC. People call me a bootlicker. People call me, you know, what, I can't remember all the names right now, but it's everything under the sun. But look, guys, they're out here doing a job, and they're doing a job for a reason. And I don't understand why we have the limits that we have on fish. Okay, I would be lying to you if I sit here and I'm like, oh, the reason we have a red snapper season that's this is because of XYZ, and the reason we're only allowed to keep 1 redfish is because of, you know, ABC. I have no clue. There is somebody way, way smarter out there than me that are coming up with these rules and regulations, and that's why they're forever changing. We are going into a little like a self-made era here. I'm in Pensacola in the very near future, and it's not keeping redfish over 20 inches. Now, they're not changing the law. It's just one of those deals where the fishermen have noticed a severe, like, downturn in slot redfish. The bull reds are still here. I mean, you know, over in Alabama, which is 12 miles away, they're allowed to keep 1 redfish, red drum that is over slot. They have a limit of 3. So they have entirely different rules over there, but there's a reason that we have the rules here that we have. Now, again, I'm not sitting here trying to explain those rules to you because I don't know. They've got some biologists somewhere that are telling them what to do. I know last year they changed our flounder regulations because they hadn't seen as many flounder caught. And what they're basing that off of, if you've ever been fishing in Florida and you've been out on a boat, there's probably been a time where you've come back to the dock and there's been some young ladies there wearing FWC shirts, maybe gentlemen. They've always been girls when I've saw them. I've never seen guys doing it, but they ask you about the fish that you caught that day, what you harvested, what you caught, what you threw back, if it died, if it lived. Those are important questions to answer because that's where they're getting these regulation numbers to determine what fish can be kept, what fish can't be kept, and all that stuff is super important. What I can say to you without a shadow of a doubt is do not, I repeat, do not keep illegal fish on your boat. Illegal fish on your boat will lead to a huge fine. I promise you guys. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You are going to get a fine. It might be a little fine. It might be a $500 fine. It might be a $1,000 fine. I don't know. You are going to get fined if you have illegal fish on your boat. If they're out of season, don't keep them. If they're in season, but they're not in a slot or they're over slot. Look, guys, I get it. You know, it pains me to throw all these red snapper back that I'm catching that are 16 inches or above just because they're not in season. But I understand that the reason that they have a season is to protect the fishery. Again, I'm not saying I know it. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying somebody said it's there for a reason, and that person is probably a lot smarter than me and a lot smarter than most of us out here. So whether you're following the rules to be a good conservationist or to protect your pocketbook or both, like me, I highly recommend that you know those rules. If you're going to be out on a boat, know the rules of what you can keep on the boat, what you can't keep, how many, what size. Look, when I catch these big redfish, like the other day I caught that like 29-inch redfish. I didn't want to put that dude back. He was 2 inches over slot, and I love to eat redfish, but I also understand the importance of not doing the things that we're not supposed to do, like keeping an over slot redfish, which is exactly what that would have been. That happens a lot. I've caught several big bridge monsters that I would have loved to have taken home and cooked them up, but I understand why I can't. Tide is really starting to rip out now too, so that might be why this bite is kind of turned on the way it has. When we first started fishing this morning, we were right at the top of high tide. It was starting to move out when I left the pass out there, and then by the time we got over here to this spot, we are pretty well on an outgoing tide now. Current's moving pretty good. There's another fish. Oh, did he come off? He's back on there. Come on, be a lane. One more lane for me. Can't tell yet. Nope. Dang it. That's a red snapper. Now, if you guys are wondering, and I mean, I think it's pretty easy to tell, but I'll kind of explain it to you all. The difference in a lane snapper and a red snapper. is the red snapper does not have the yellow fins, and they also don't have the yellow stripes that the lane snappers have. Now, a lot of people confuse this spot on a red snapper to make it think that it's a lane snapper, and it's not. A lane snapper needs to have those yellow lines and those yellow fins on the bottom. So make sure you don't keep a red snapper thinking that it's a lane, because that ain't gonna be a very good day for anybody. Throughout this video, we've been showing you guys clips of us catching some red snapper. There's a ton of red snapper out there, guys. There really is. They're kind of everywhere. But again, there's a reason that they're protecting them. We got a video coming out in a couple days, and we caught some other fish. And you're gonna see in that video, because a lot of you guys ask, why do you keep fishing these spots if they have the juvenile red snapper? Well, the reason we do that is because you can pull keeper fish off of there too. You just kind of have to sort through the red snapper, and it can be frustrating, and it can be irritating 100%. But there's a reason that you only keep the fish that are legal to keep. Another bite right here. I'll take a couple more of those lane snappers if they're down there. I ain't mad about that at all. Now this one is of the variety that we cannot keep. That's another red snapper. We want lanes and mangroves, we're catching reds. So I'm trying to answer some of these questions that you guys ask in between fishing. And another big one that I get is, can you keep a fish if you got sharked, if it's still big enough? And the answer is, it's complicated. If you've ever been on Facebook and you've seen somebody in their Facebook profiles, relationship status says it's complicated, you usually know something crazy happened, and I'm sure that's what the case is here. Per the Florida Fish and Wildlife website, it says that in order to keep a fish, you have to keep the fish in whole, which means you can't have half of it gone. Obviously, if you catch a fish and it gets sharked and it's no longer of the legal limit, you cannot keep that fish. You can sit there and argue all you want to with an FWC officer that the fish would have been a legal size had it not got eaten, but it's pretty black and white in the rules that you cannot keep that fish. I don't know the reasoning for that. I really don't. I do feel kind of bad because when these fish get sharked, if there's still enough there to eat and you still have the fillets, it seems like it would be a huge waste to not eat them. I don't know if that's something about just kind of giving back to the environment. I'm really not sure, but I've never really talked to an FWC officer about this. I would venture to guess that if you caught an offshore fish and it got sharked and there was meat left and it still if it wasn't a slot fish and you kept it and it was still a legal size, my guess is that they probably wouldn't get you for that. But I don't know. I mean, I really don't know the exact answer to that, and I don't know that there's a crystal clear answer other than if you were to get a ticket, it is pretty black and white in the rule book that it says the fish has to be caught whole in order for you to keep it. So if if an FWC officer was having a bad day and wanted to be a jerk and write you a ticket, or maybe they're supposed to write you tickets, I don't know. You could definitely get a ticket for keeping that fish. So just be mindful of that. Also, one other thing I want to address is the fines. Guys, these fines are crazy. They can be $100, they can be $500. I've seen some of them in the thousands depending on what the offense was. I mean, some of them could be a criminal charge if you did it intentionally in a bad enough way. There was a dude, it's been a couple years ago now, and he kept like 10 times the legal limit of what he was allowed to keep for pompano on a commercial boat. And I think he almost went to jail. So you just want to make sure that you're following those rules. This is not about money for these FWC officers. Yes, they are collecting fines, but they're not coming out here trying to ruin your day. I promise you that. When they come out, they're not coming out to ruin your day. They're just coming out to do their job. They're coming out to make sure you're following the rules. And I see all these comments on the videos talking about, I'm just trying to feed my family. And I agree with that 100%, but there are plenty of legal fish out here that you can keep to feed your family. That's just a fact. I mean, I'm just being honest with you about that. And in closing, guys, I just want to go over real quick. If you are on a boat in the state of Florida, make sure you're up to par. I mean, I've gotten checked twice this week. Now, they chose not to do safety checks on me, but had they, I would have passed, but you need to make sure you've got all that stuff. That is vitally important. It's important for you. It's important for people that you have on your boat. Just a real quick rundown, if you're not aware, you do have to have a life vest for every person on your boat. Obviously, if they're children, they need to have children's life vests. You need to have a throwable life preserver, whether it be one of the square ones, one of the round ones, whatever. But you do have to have a throwable. You have to have a fire extinguisher on board at all time. You need your paper registration on your boat at all time. And you do need a noise-making device. Now, most boats have a horn. I also recommend getting yourself a whistle, because if something were to happen and you were out there and your boat got flooded or something like that, if your battery dies, your horn doesn't work. So make sure that you got a whistle on your boat. That way you can notify people when they roll up. Guys, that's pretty much all I got for you today. I just wanted to kind of talk about some of these undersized fish we've been catching, why we continue to fish those spots, and why FWC is out here monitoring things the way they're monitoring. As always, guys, find a way to make somebody smile today. You never know. It just might change the world. We can't wait to see y'all in the next one. Y'all take care, and we will see you soon.